Hello, this is my first vlog update. This is September 8th, 2007, and I am trying to capture everything that happened in the last 2 months, since July 12th of this year until now. So, the first thing is, I went to a place, there's something called Mudfest, which is held in a city that's a little south of Seoul called Boryong every year. Basically, what it is this debauched party of a bunch of foreigners and some Koreans who get together and they just put a lot of mud on themselves. That's basically it. And they kind of use it, I think, to flaunt their mud or whatever they sell that to, for therapeutic reasons. When I went with a group called Adventure Korea, which I didn't actually get to go with them, but I paid for it. I ended up going actually with some other friends who I met up with, but I couldn't find the Adventure Korea group. I'd explain more, but I'm trying to keep this under time. So, oh, and another thing is I met a girl named Anne, who I'll be talking about in a little bit. Yeah. So the next thing I did, the major thing that I did after that, was I went to something called the Korean War Memorial, which, as you can imagine, is a lot about to do with the Korean War of the 1953 or 1950 to 1953. The one that the United States was involved in, as well as the United Nations. It was kind of their big, first test, if you will. I ended up going there. It was pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff. I took a lot of pictures. There's tons of gadgetry and military stuff all over, and I think that's pretty cool to see. I'm sure Kevin will like that. As well, just kind of everyone. It's interesting, and they have a lot of their stuff today, and it's pretty close, not surprisingly, to both the American and American and Korean military bases there. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, and I ended up going there with Lauren, just so you know, and it's near a place called Itaewon, which is, I always call that Seoul's asshole, because basically it's just filled with foreigners, and it's just a bunch. It's like this really big, nasty kind of GI hangout, if you will. But it's kind of like American-town in Korea, so I think that's pretty funny. So one other thing I did is I hung out with Kyla and Carrie, and Kyla's the English girl. If I don't know if anyone remembers, she's from London, and Carrie is from Vancouver, or Alberta in Canada, and she's a linguist, so she's kind of a girl after my own heart. But we kind of hung out, and we actually started to read a Bill Bryson book that I bought when I was with them, called A Brief History of Nearly Everything. It's pretty cool. I haven't read that much of it yet, but it's pretty interesting. But we all read it together, and that was something I've always wanted to do, so it was pretty cool to do that. The only problem is they both left. Kyla ran, did what's called a midnight run, which is where you just kind of take off. And Carrie served out the rest of her contract, but she wasn't here for that much longer. That's kind of the bitch about meeting people in Korea, is you don't know how long you're going to be here, or how long you yourself are going to be here. I mean, I've been here 6 months or 7 months now, and yeah, I have a little bit of time left, but it's eating up fast. But one thing we did was pretty cool, is we stayed with their friend Emily, and we stayed on their roof one night, because there's all these high-rise apartments around here, and that was pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed that, but unfortunately my contacts got, I didn't have a place to put them, so I ended up putting them in these shot glasses, I think, and man, my eyes were just so sore the next day I could barely see. I had to have Kyla actually accompany me to the bus. That was pretty fun. Okay, so one point I'm going to mention briefly now is I went to Taiwan. That was pretty fun. It was a really good time. We spent 5 days there. I did a lot of cool stuff. I went up the Taipei 101 building, which is currently, as I make this video, the tallest completed building in the world. There's actually a building that they're making in Dubai, which has surpassed it, but it's not finished, so you can't go in it yet. That was pretty cool. I also went and saw the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial, and I learned a lot about Chinese history in general, as you know, or may not. Taiwan calls itself the Republic of China, so it's kind of like there's two Chinas, which a lot of people know, but I don't think people think of it like that. And it was kind of the capitalist China. What would have happened if China had gone the capitalist route from the start? So one thing I did with Carrie and the girl that I met on the roof named Emily is we went to this Mozart thing that they held in Seoul, and it was pretty cool. It was all this stuff that they brought in from from Salzburg, Austria, and it It was pretty awesome actually. Like there was lockets of Mozart's hair. There were like his violins and stuff like that, his pianos, all that stuff. I was pretty excited. It really pumped me up because I love European culture and just everything to do with that. I love the antiquity, just the finesse, everything about it. It's just I don't think I used the word finesse right, by the way, but it was all pretty cool. Um, so we did that, and we were gonna go to a concert, but that didn't actually end up working out. And yeah, that was pretty fun. But that was the last time I actually saw Carrie. So yeah. So another thing I did after that is I went to a place called the Coex Mall, which is supposed to be, I think, the largest coex. I mean, not coex, the largest mall certainly in Korea, if not maybe among the largest in the world. It's I don't know if it's on par with Mall of America, but it's pretty large. Um, anyway, so one other thing is, oh yeah, so I went there with this girl named Anne, who I actually started to really kind of fall for, as much as I've fallen for anyone lately, and it was cool. But we kind of ended up having a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a falling out, but kind of that. I was getting a little too clingy because it'd been a long time, and it's very isolating here, in Korea to be a foreigner if you don't speak the language, especially, and you're just kind of here on your own. I've since remedied a lot of that, but she was kind of a good crutch for me for a while, and she's just a really cool person. I'm kind of sad that things worked out like that, but it all worked out. I think it's not over yet either. I mean, we're still good friends, or yeah, but we haven't talked since that time either, since we had a kind of falling out. I can elaborate more in later videos. So another thing I did, and this is actually really cool, and I took lots of pictures here, is I went to the Korean Folk Village, which is actually something I really enjoyed. It's something that I would definitely bring anybody who ever came out here to see me. I would go there with them. I wouldn't mind going there a lot because it's basically this village where they recreate history. I know that where I'm from, they have in Littleton. They have the Littleton Museum and stuff like that, and this is kind of like that, but it's huge, and it's just got all sorts of stuff. It kind of represents, I think, about a 200-year period in the history of Korea, mostly representing what's called the Joseon dynasty. So anyway, I went there with this Chinese girl. It was kind of like a date, I guess you'd say, named Ting Ting, and she's really cool. I really liked getting to know her, and I'm hoping to maybe take her to a show or something later on. And she studies at Gangnam University, which is right up the street from me, from where I work. So that's pretty cool. I met this girl, by the way, at she worked at a pizza place. I just kind of went in and introduced myself, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. We really had a good time and kind of hit it off. But I mean, but there was kind of definitely a language barrier and all that stuff. But she also brought her boss's daughter named Pinky, who's this really cute little Korean kid. Apparently she'd been studying English for 6 years, but she wouldn't speak a word of it to me, and I thought that was kind of funny. So apparently I'm doing okay on time. I want to keep this under 10 minutes because YouTube doesn't allow longer videos than that. But so one other thing that happened was I had what are called intensives. Okay, now basically the idea of intensives is that when kids get out for school in the summertime, which they get a month-long break, which I think sucks, and same thing in the winter for that matter, they have 2 periods of intensives a year, which means basically there's additional classes because since kids aren't in school, what do their parents want to do with them? They want to put them in more school. So they put them in, yeah, and that's what they do. And I was working long hours. My social life was very full. I was dating a few girls at this time, a few of whom I've mentioned, a couple I didn't. And it was just really interesting. I was kind of bushed by the end. It sucked. And that's a lot of the reason I actually didn't update my journal in that meantime as well. But it was pretty cool. I actually had a lot of classes. I liked my intensive classes a lot more actually than my regular classes at the same time. They were a lot easier to control, and they really loved me. One of the kids actually wrote this really cute little letter at the last day. All that stuff I save here, of course, but it's pretty cool. Okay, so the final thing is, so we had this little party last week to celebrate the end of intensives. I brought this girl who I was dating named Nami there. Oh, and another thing is Nami and I went whitewater rafting, which is pretty fun. I don't have a lot to say about that because my time's running out, but it was all pretty cool. I had a good time, and that's pretty much the months.